Welcome to the show, Emmanuel Bergerat. Welcome, Emmanuel.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
You and I both know, and we've discussed this before, it's kind of we attract like what we feel we deserve. We attract what we have, these ideals in our head, the way someone should be, or how much love basically we can let into our heart, how much love we have to give. So these kind of things that match up, right, vibrationally. So it can be
Yeah,
difficult.
I I'd say now I'm more into well, first thing is if you want or need something, you're wrong. It's something you either not gonna get it, and if you get it, you're gonna want something else. It's an endless spiral that is not gonna bring you the happiness and the strength within that is actually the only thing that you really need. So as soon as you start to want or need something, that means you miss it. That means it's something you don't have, and that you need that to be happy. And the problem is that means you need something external to you. And to your other point is what I really think and believe now is you attract who you are. And sometimes you attract what you want. And actually, now that I follow my intuition, my spiritual guides, my life flow. And every time I have fear or anxiety for something that is not going to work or that is not going in, that is frightening me a little bit, uh, they always come back with a lesson to me that you shouldn't have been afraid. You still don't learn. So yes, I'm learning.
Yeah, no, that's really well said. And I'm a firm believer in that too.
If you think you're complete based on what you achieved, the job, the money, owning a house or whatever, this is external. The completeness is within, and it is always here. It's just you to look inside, and that's really the main key that I discovered. Yeah, and back to your little hint on Neale Donald Walsch. What he says is, well, if you think your life is about get the job, get the car, get the woman, and get the house, and then what happens is get the new job, get the bigger car, get the best wife, and it's endless. And he's a very impressive example of that. I mean, he's been married 8 times. I don't know how you can do that, but 8 times. And he said, when you do that, it's completely out of. You're never going to reach anything. It's like people that are doing competition and they want to be the best regional, then the best provincial, then the best national, then the best international. And then even when it happens to them, if ever, first they sacrifice everything else because they think they need that to exist or to fulfill something. And then if they ever get it, then what's next? What's left is what was always here, which is people and how you behave, who you are being when you touch others. That's really the key that I've learned these last few years. When you go within, then you can go external too. It is a byproduct of how you behave, and every day, even at the job, I have experiences of that. Uh, I don't really understand what I changed in my behavior, and but you see that more than me. But what I really think is I changed my belief about what life is about, what we are all about, and it changes everything: my behavior, what I say, how I talk, how I take any events, and that's really what I came to is. Um, what you believe you experience. So if you believe you're a soul incarnated that has eternal life and death is just a transition like birth is from the spiritual to the physical and death the opposite, when you believe in that, nothing can touch you. Nobody can really harm you because you can't harm anybody. And it's a little bit like one of the message Neale Donald Walsch have, but few others. And the more I grow spiritually, which I believe is the aim of our, I would say, journey in our lives in this physical form, it's spiritual growth, evolution, to understand that there's only love and fear in this world, because there's only love in the spiritual world. So you don't know what love is if you can't have the chance to choose differently, and that's why all our souls comes in the physical. They can choose every time fear or love, and every decisions in your life is either intrinsically coming from this or the other. Fear makes you feel apart, make people a little bit more distant. It's the us versus them. And love is we're all the same. It's gathering. It's getting a family rebuilt. It's getting people closer to you. This is everything that brings to you. and it's really the only two ways to live. And what I understand is we're entering I would say, a period on Earth where you won't be allowed to not awaken in a way or another, because the others are awakening, and that's why most of souls are coming here on Earth now, because the Earth is not going to be able to support people that just don't understand that it's not about how to survival. It is not where we are anymore. And there's more and more people like you, me, and few others from the Light Circle, for instance, but everywhere, that's saying, well, yes, life is not about survival. If you start to, again, when I said what you believe you experience, if you start to realize, and if everybody teach you, that's what I teach my kids now, that you're an internal soul incarnated to get an experience here, that your soul is tuning the path of this life you're having and the experience you have regularly with the spiritual guides that help you build and design this life to learn lessons that are to push you through spiritual evolution and growth for you, your life is completely different, because you understand that you're here to choose every minute of your life if you want to express love or fear, if you want to kill the other or hug him. If the other kills you, you just go back in the
Mhm.
spiritual. If you die, it doesn't matter.
Two points that I want to make that you brought up. One is survival. Survival of the fittest, survival mode. Now, survival mode is scarcity mode. Scarcity mode is the opposite of abundance. And abundance mode is in harmony or flow with nature. Survival, if your brain, and again, fear mode is also fear mode. Putting yourself in survival mode is a limiting mode, is a fearful mode, is not good. So has to, stop. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is like what you said, that if you believe, most people, I would say, believe death is bad. And I don't believe death is bad either. I see it like you. It's just a transition out of this, flesh body back to the spirit world. So when you have that perception, that changes everything. I mean, right there,
Yeah,
the way you're going to live and everything.
it's really about not being afraid, and not being afraid means being in touch with your essence, your soul, and that is within. Well, I'm a big fan of history of science. I mean, I have a master of science on physics and a few other stuff in this field, and I'm an engineer, even if now I'm doing computer software. But I love the history of science. I always wanted to understand, how did we discover the things that we learned? How did Ampere and a few others, and Einstein and a few others, get to that? And when you start to understand that, you understand a few things. First is, we don't know much. How can we assess what we know compared to what is to be known? I mean, 100 years ago, we didn't know anything about DNA, about the atom, and what we can do with it, and the fact that the matter and the energy are the same thing, which is the E equals mc square formula. And so 150 years ago, the guys from my engineering school and university couldn't even study that. Even science is a learning process, a learning curve, and everybody's saying, oh, if it is not scientifically proven, it doesn't exist. I think is very well mistaken of how science
Yes.
works and where it comes from.
Exactly. I mean, again, if you think of, if you take a lighter, just a regular lighter or Zippo, and you go back a few hundred years and you do it, they're going to think you're a magician.
Yeah, exactly. You
This
are.
guy's
You are.
magic, magic, right? Electricity was always there. We
Yeah.
just didn't know how to harness it,
We don't
right?
even knew it exists.
There you go. Until you did. And now, I mean, again, it's magic. I mean, it's magic until you put this label on this. I still think it's magic, but it's magic,
It is.
until you put this label on this thing. And then once you can explain it in a book and say, AC and DC current, and now, okay, now it's science. It's okay, it's okay. So I think that a lot of spirituality and science is catching up to prove the spirituality, and that's why I've always I often mention Dr. Joe Dispenza, who
Mhm.
proves these spiritual concepts through scientific methods, which is very interesting, and
Yeah, it is.
it's catching up.
Absolutely.
I think there will be a day where they can prove the soul.
If you teach to every kid at the age of, I don't know, 10, 11, actually earlier it would be better, that he's a soul incarnated for an experience of opposites: love, fear, black, white, hot, cold, tall, small, etc. And then he's here for this experience, and you just teach him that. It's 1 hour lesson, And if you do that before the age of 7 or 8, they still remember their previous life, by the way. Then it hit them. When I told my boys a few years ago, hey, we're going to go to church now, my younger one, he was probably 4 or 5 at the time, told me, oh, cool, I love God. I met him, he's great. I was like, what's going on? And yeah, I'm pretty sure he did actually, knowing his life and his health issues when he was young. I'm not surprised. He probably had talked to know if does I stay in the body or do I go back to another life later or something like that. He probably had these talks. What really amazed me in Neale's books is God is saying in these conversations with God, you all ask the same thing because I hear all your prayers. All your human prayers, I hear them, and you all want the same thing. You want peace, you want abundance, so you don't have to be in a survival mode. I'm gonna eat tonight, which is still what 2 or 3 billions of humans are doing every day, by the way. So we can talk about our billionaires in the U.S., but there's 2 to 3 billions people that every day wonder how they're gonna eat. Is it really how we can treat each other? I don't think so. And there's enough food on the earth, by the way. If you believe that, or if you believe that, okay, whatever happens, it's an experience. It's something that is here to grow, to help me grow, and to help me choose between fear and love. Where our entire society is based on competition. And everybody tells you competition is good. While competition is just driving us to burn the earth faster and faster every day than the day before until it's unlivable for the human beings.
Can you tell the listener a little bit about the light circle?
Yes, thank you. So, from everything I expressed and from my own journey, I realized that the divine and the spiritual is everywhere. I even actually felt my spiritual guides physically a few times to avoid me doing some stuff that were really not on my path. Like, I literally vomited until I decided to take another path and another direction. And all of a sudden, it was all over. And it was clear for me I was guided, and they can physically interact with us. So when I realized all that, it's what you believe, what our real essence is, what life is about. And actually, life is about the same thing for all of us. All of us are here to experience the opposite, to realize what it means to love, or through the possibility to choose fear in our decisions. I realize that this is something that is not really widely spread and that most people don't even really talk about. So I decided when I bought my new house, there was enough space in the basement to have meetings of 20, 25 during the winter, which is something around here. And so I got the intuition, let's do meetings there. And that's how I started the Light Circle. It's a place where we usually share a potluck before we start to discuss more spiritual things. And it's a place where people that want to understand more about spirituality and divine and what it could look like for themselves can come and come with their questions or listen to others. And then after that, we usually have a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half where we talk about a topic. We've been lucky to have you making a talk for us a few months ago. We also have others coming with contents that they read or they understood. We also get some people channeling few messages. So this is what the Light Circle is about. It's all about the fact that our real nature is not what we see or touch. We are not our body. Our body is something we have to get the experience our soul decided.
The light circle, a safe space,
Mhm.
for everyone to speak their mind and to learn and to grow together and to have those questions answered. And it's really nice. It's kind of like a book club, but more for vibration and spirituality.
Absolutely.
So with that, I wish you a successful and peaceful mind and a wonderful night. And we'll talk super soon.
Thanks a lot, Andrew, and I hope it helped some people. And by the way, if you end up watching that, it is not a coincidence. Have a great night. See you
Well
soon,
said.
Andrew. Bye.
Okay, ciao, man.